Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology podcasts with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Future Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Juliette Lamar, and we have with us today Ken Seddon. He is the Chief Executive Officer at Lot Network. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you. Hi, Juliette. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to your listeners.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule. I know you guys are very busy over at Lot Network doing all kinds of things. Let us in. What are you doing? Tell us about it.
Sure. So Lot Network is a nonprofit organization that's dealing with the issue of patent assertion entities, or commonly referred to as patent trolls. We are an organization of about 226 members, primarily from the high-tech industry, auto industry, the banking industry, and the retail industry, but a group of companies that have banded together to basically immunize themselves from patent trolls.
All right. So the patent trolls, give us a little background about what that is.
Sure. So patent trolls.
The threat, yeah.
Yeah. So companies are sued by patent trolls on a regular basis. There's about 2,000 new patent troll lawsuits filed every year in the United States that cost companies anywhere around $26 billion to $30 billion a year to settle, to litigate, and to deal with. Well, basically, what a patent troll is, it's just a company that goes around buying patents and then suing other companies for money. And they know the tricks and the ins and outs of litigation. They know how much it's going to cost for a big or small company to defend themselves. And they have this knack for settling for just a little bit less than that so they can avoid actually having to go to a courthouse, but they know how to get as much money as possible out of companies using the fear of litigation.
Wow. So this is a pretty malicious problem.
It is, and it's pretty widespread. It's not just something limited. You'd think normally they would just sue the large companies, and certainly companies like Apple and Google and Oracle and Cisco, many of my large companies that are part of our community, regularly suffer from this problem. But it's also common with small companies. There are a group of trolls that like to sue small companies because they know they don't have the legal or financial resources to defend themselves. In fact, about 50% of the companies sued by patent trolls every year have less than $10 million in annual revenue. And so Lot was formed as kind of a way to protect innovation. Our view is that every dollar that a company has to spend defending itself from patent trolls is a waste of money. And so we're trying to figure out a way how to preserve the normal uses, the traditional uses of patents, while immunizing companies from the risk of patent trolls.
So walk us through, how you do that. So if you're a company and you think that you're going to be starting to get trolled, how do you go about protecting yourself?
Yeah, so if you look at the troll problem, the real irony of it is that companies only have themselves to blame. As it turns out, about 80% of the patents that trolls use in their litigation campaigns actually come from other operating companies. So what happens is companies sell some patents on the open market, they get bought by patent trolls. Those patent trolls then go around suing other companies, make a bunch of money, and repeat this vicious cycle. So Lot was formed to be the company-based solution to this problem. Since companies are the ones that typically cause the issue, companies should be the ones to solve it. So the way Lot works is every member of our community is making the exact same commitment. So whether you're JP Morgan Chase or Oracle or Cisco or Honda or GM or a small startup with only one patent application, everyone is signing the exact same document, making the exact same commitment. And it's a 10-page, very simple document that says effectively, you're free to do whatever you want with your patents. But if one of your patents should ever happen to fall into the hands of a patent troll, we within the community are going to receive an automatic and free license to it. And only when that patent falls in the hands of a troll do you get this free license. So until that happens, companies are free to go about their normal business. They can assert their patents against each other or people inside or outside the community. They can have licensing programs. They can do cross-licensing. All the normal uses of patents are fair play. But it's just that we as a community have decided that if any of our patents fall in the hands of a troll, we are protected. And with our 226 members, we now have over 1.1 million patents that are subject to this obligation. So all of our members are equally protected to over 1 million patents.
Wow, that's fantastic. So how do you get yourself into this little community? What qualifications do you need as a company, I suppose?
Well, as a company, absolutely none. In fact, most of our companies join LOT, and they don't even, I wouldn't say most, but I'd say for startup companies, most startups that join, they don't even have any patents, and they're joining purely for the defensive value. The large companies, I mean, we now have 4 of the largest banks in the United States, including TD Bank, Wells Fargo are members. We have 7 of the 9 largest automakers are part of our community. We have most of the retailers like J.C. Penney's and Walgreens and Target and Amazon and Alibaba, of course, are members. It's simply a commitment. It's about your company willing to make a commitment that if any of your patents fall in the hands of a troll, this license extends to the other members. So it's purely a defensive value. You don't have to have patents. And it's kind of proof in the pudding. Because we're a nonprofit, our job is to protect innovation. We work for our members. And so one of the things that LOT has specifically designed is it's actually free for any company with less than 25 million in annual revenue can join our community for free, be immunized to these million patents. And the other program that we just announced a couple of weeks ago is several of the large companies in LOT have donated thousands of patents to LOT Network. And we're actually giving away free patents to any company with less than 25 million in annual revenue. So as an incentive and as a courage, these small companies to start developing their IP strategy earlier in their life cycle, we're now giving away 3 patents to any company that qualifies who joins LOT Network.
And if you're comfortable disclosing this information, how much does it really cost to join your network? I know you're a nonprofit, so how does it all work?
Yeah, no, and we pride ourselves. We're very transparent. So certainly our agreement is available on our website. There's plenty of information. There's a video that explains how it works. All of our members and the exact day they joined is also on our website. So all the information about LOT is certainly up there. And our fee structure, it's simply, like I said, we are a nonprofit. So the largest companies in LOT that have over $1 billion in annual revenue are paying $20,000 a year to be a member. So the Googles and the Facebooks and the Oracles of the world, they're paying $20,000 a year to be a member. But we've grown so much with large companies over the last couple of years that as we grow in large members, I actually have to reduce the fee to maintain our nonprofit status. And so the large companies of LOT have decided, $20,000 a year to Google is nothing. And rather than reducing their fee, the large members of LOT have actually decided to subsidize the cost for the smaller company. So that's why for anybody with less than 25 million in annual revenue, they can join LOT for free. And I expect as we continue to grow that threshold will continue to go up.
Well, absolutely. It'll be the natural progression of things. There's tons of different kinds of patents out there. Are there specific ones that are covered? Are they all covered? How does that work?
Yeah, and that's one of the things I really like about LOT. It really is an all-in commitment. As I mentioned, everybody signs the exact same document. There's no negotiations. And it's not because we're trying to be lazy. It's simply because we think it's very important that regardless of your size, you're treated as an equal and everyone's making the exact same commitment. So whether you're Red Hat with their 2,000 patents or Canon with their 20 or 200,000 assets, or a startup with 1 patent application, everyone's patents that they own are fully committed to this program. So no one's excluding any patents. It's not limited to certain technologies. Because quite honestly, we're finding that the patent troll problem really doesn't know any boundaries. It's not just a U.S. problem. We've already seen plenty of patent troll activity in Europe and in China, and it's across all industries. And I think going forward with the convergence of technology, certainly as the automobile industry becomes more software-centric, and as other industries rely more and more on wireless technology and interoperability and cloud computing and new security technologies, as any product starts to become more high-tech and uses technology from other industries, its risk and exposure to the patent troll problem grows. So as a member of LOT, whether you make tennis shoes or cell phones, or you're a fintech startup or a software company or a video game company, your products are, regardless of what it is, are fully immunized to these 1.1 million patents worldwide.
There really is no reason to not join. I mean, I don't see a downside personally yet. Are there any?
well, to be fair, and and again, we pride ourselves on our honesty and our transparency. There really are. I think there's 3 reasons not to join. Number one, if your company is actively selling patents to trolls, you probably don't want to join Lot Network. But usually, the only companies that are doing that are those that value monetization and are on their death spiral. But certainly, that's not the case of most of our members. The second reason is you're confident that your business is not going to get sued by trolls. So, for example, I've met with Indian pharmaceutical companies who manufacture product in India and sell it in South America or Brazil. And, as a result, they're not exposed. Their business is not exposed to the U.S., European, or Asian legal systems, and therefore they really don't get sued by trolls. It's a rare event, but for completeness, it is a possibility. And historically, the third reason is you might not be able to afford it. I mean, 4 years ago when Lot was founded, even startup companies had to pay a nominal fee. And we've now realized that really could be a barrier to entry for smaller companies, which is why now we've made it free for anybody with less than 25 million in annual revenue. But even for companies who make 50, 100 million, $1 billion in revenue, anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 a year is our fee. And when you think about the value that you're receiving, I mean, you're now being permanently immunized to 1 million assets in the hands of a troll. If you're a startup that qualifies, you can get free patents from our membership. And it's hard to understate it, but there really is tremendous value just being part of the community. There's a lot of information sharing that goes on within our community members. We meet once a year and have an all members meeting, which offers a great opportunity for any company to sit side by side with the Volkswagens and Facebooks and Teslas of the world and network at a business and a legal level. So it's a great opportunity for small companies as well as a great protection offered by large for large companies.
And going back to some of the free patents that you have, you've got a ton of them, and then so anyone is eligible to go in and utilize those.
Yeah, and so we realize that especially for smaller companies and startups, they may not know what they need, and they may not have legal resources on hand to help them with that. So we're actually offering a hand with that. So we've divided the portfolio into 6 different technology areas. So a startup can come to us and say, I'm looking for patents in autonomous vehicles or on cloud computing or on software or on fintech. They can tell us what their needs are. And we've actually got this a law firm, Berkeley Law Technology Group, as well as HTS has kind of classified the patents for us. And we can tell them right away which are the 5 most valuable patents we have available in that area. And they can certainly then pick which of those 5 they want. And so we try to make the selection process for them as easy as possible and share with them as much information and advice as we can.
Well, that's very accommodating of you. So, why are you doing this? Let's take it back to the inception of Lot. What is really the driving force behind this entire network?
Yeah, it really was about innovation. I worked at Apple, and Apple, in 2011, 2012 timeframe, large high-tech companies like Apple and Google and Samsung and others were getting sued 2, maybe 3 times a week from these lawsuits. And like I said, this is, $26 to $30 billion a year is being spent by companies dealing with this issue. The only ones getting rich from this are the lawyers. And our view is if we could save companies this $26 billion, that's money that would be reinvested either in R&D, make for better products, or perhaps returning to shareholders. So the sole purpose of Lot was to find a way to save companies this expense while preserving the normal uses of patents. Because we certainly believe in a strong patent system. We know that patents protect innovation, they fuel innovation, and it's the reward for both large and small companies who choose to innovate and make the commitment and come up with new solutions. So we always wanted a strong patent system. We just wanted to find a way to solve for this troll issue. And when you look at what's the root of the problem, it's companies sell patents to trolls. We had to find a way to preserve the normal uses while, again, just plugging this loophole of what happens when a company goes south and sells their patents on the open market.
No, that's fantastic. And just protecting intellectual work is, like you said, it's so important, because if people think that they're so vulnerable, they're not going to create, they're not going to share their idea, and then it's actually never going to come to fruition.
Yeah, and we've certainly had a strong response with the open source and software communities. I know there's a lot of software developers, certainly the younger generation of developers. They worry about generating patents and having those patents harming the ecosystem. So a lot of companies that rely on open source for their product development really find that lot is in alignment with their company philosophically, with their DNA. Because now you as a company, a software company, can develop software patents that are necessary to protect your innovation. And you have the peace of mind knowing that if you're part of Lot Network, those patents will never be used to harm the community members should I ever go bankrupt or if they ever fall into the hands of a patent troll. So we really feel like it's something that sophisticated, good corporate citizens want to do. They realize the power and the harm that patents can cause. They also recognize the value and the necessity of patents to protect and stimulate innovation. And I think Lot Network, through this community approach, really strikes a nice balance of those concerns.
So how do we sign up? How do we get involved? What are those steps?
So it's very simple. You can go to our website, www.lotnet.com. We have a nice video on there that provides an overview of how it works. You can download the agreement, sign it, and you can even upload it right away. So it takes a matter of minutes, and you can be a member. You can see on the website everybody else who's a member of Lot. We have the list. So Lot Network, we wanted to make this as easy as possible. So there's no burden. So when you join, you never have to tell us what patents you have. You never have to tell us what you're buying, what you're selling, who you're licensing, who you're litigating. All of your IP and business transactions remain strictly confidential. We, Lot, the organization, maintain the list of every patent that's part of our community, and we make those readily available to our members. So for a startup, you simply download the agreement. If you have any questions, there's portals on the website. You can contact us, or we can set up a meeting to explain how it works. You sign the agreement. Once we receive your agreement, you're a member of our community in equal standing, and we'll list you on the website, and we can connect you with the law firm and help you with your selection process to pick your free patent.
That's fantastic. And say someone wants to leave, is there like a time commitment that you're signing up for? And when you do leave, how does that process work?
You would think there might be, but there actually isn't. There's no strings attached. Any member of Lot is free to leave at any moment. So whether you are, a large high-tech company or an automobile company, if for whatever reason you change your views of Lot, or you feel like you're not getting value, you're free to withdraw. But we're proud to say that no member of Lot has ever withdrawn from our community. Because if you like, Lot today and the value that we're offering you, because we are a nonprofit, we work for our members. So every day we're finding ways to add new value. And every time new companies join and the community and the herd gets larger, there's even less of a reason to leave. But you're certainly free to leave. You could join today, get your free patents tomorrow, and leave the day after. We certainly don't want to put any strings attached to this. You don't have to give us any money. You don't have to exchange any equity. You don't have to give up any ownership or control of your company. You as a startup can come, grab your patents, and leave the next day if you wanted to. We don't think you're going to want to, simply because of the immunization value that comes with being part of our community. But certainly we don't want to impose any restrictions on companies. You can leave anytime.
And this is fantastic, and I feel like it's such a needed resource now that I know that trolls are such a problem in this area.
It is, and it's interesting. Certainly we run the organization, and I meet regularly with companies or speak at conferences, and I'm glad to do that. Continue to do that. But about a third of my time is actually just spent being an ambassador between our members. Because we are this community of companies of all sizes and industries, I spend a lot of my time, being a go-between between two companies who might want to buy or sell patents between each other, or get together and file an amicus brief, or get together and work on some legislative reform. So there is certainly a lot more to law than just the immunization that comes from patent trolls. There is truly the power of the network and the information sharing that goes on within the community. And that alone, certainly, Lot already has about 75 startups are already part of our community. And all the feedback I got from those members who attended our annual meeting a couple of weeks ago was just amazing. They were just overwhelmed with the information and just how much they learned through osmosis, just attending an all-day conference with some of the most sophisticated companies in the world and interacting and seeing how the large companies do things. It's a great way for the small companies who really probably hasn't spent much time developing their IP strategy, learning very quickly what they need to do if they're going to be successful. Because time and time again, I think that's the number one issue I hear from startups is they realize they waited too long in their life cycle to worry about patents and their IP strategy. And I understand it. They're just struggling. They're trying to get a product to market, and it's all, and they have limited resources. I totally understand that. But for, if you look at all the Airbnbs and the Ubers and, the next generation of high-tech successful companies, you will need an IP strategy. And we hope that Lot Network can be kind of a safe harbor platform to build that strategy. And I think the fact that we're giving away free patents is a great way for startups to jumpstart in their portfolio. And I think VCs as well. If you're an investor and you've got a portfolio of companies, having them in Lot Network, gives them an opportunity to get valuable patents as well as immunize your own investment from the risk of patent trolls.
Absolutely. Well, Ken Seddon, thank you so much for joining us here today on Future Tech Podcast and for sharing this wealth of information that you have and really encouraging people to join this community and fight together towards this common enemy.
Well, I appreciate it. No, thank you. Thank you for your time. And again, I extend an open invitation to anybody. I've been working at Lot now for 4 years. There isn't a question that hasn't been asked that we don't have a great answer to. And I really encourage your listeners to reach out through our website or to me directly. Glad to help out. And I want everybody to feel excited about joining Lot. I understand this is a new thing. It's a new concept. It may take some time to get comfortable with it. But this truly is an amazing opportunity. And if you look at what other successful high-tech companies are doing, I think there's much that can be benefited and learned by being part of that community.
Absolutely. Strength in numbers and always sharing information has a positive outcome as opposed to hoarding the information.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Ken. That was Ken Seddon. He is the Chief Executive Officer at Lot Network. Their website, again, is lotnet.com. Check them out. Thank you all so much for joining us. This has been Juliette Lamar for Future Tech Podcast.
You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.